so sorry to hear that the crime rates climb when you've got such an issue going on that people take advantage of that. That's unfortunately human nature, and unfortunately that it raises its ugly head during these periods.
There's an old saying about idle hands.
Yes.
So, Frank, we just wanted to get you on the line to give us an update on everything that's going on between FEMA and the government of Guam. So what can you tell us?
Well, we're continuing under the unified command structure to talk with the civil defense folks, the Homeland Security folks, public health, surgeon cell, and collaborate with them to see what their needs are and support them through anybody that we have on anything we can lay our hands on. At this point, it's predominantly inventory and logistics support in PPE, test kits, things like that, and getting those out and delivered and into the hands of the territory here. We are right now speaking a little bit about tents, but that's still under review and discussion with the Homeland Security folks.
Tents, are these for individuals, or
are these for homeless people?
These are the homeless tents that we've been asked to review and consider the request.
And what's the timeline on that? Because we've been asking the local government about them standing up this place to shelter the homeless, and it's been several weeks now, and they're saying that, we just spoke to Lieutenant Governor, he said, it's because we're repairing a Paseo. But is there any type of holdup on the federal government's end?
I don't know that there is. I know that there's, and this just came to my attention the last couple of days, but anytime we get a request from the government, it runs through channels, and it involves an ask and justification and back and forth, and get it into the hands of the folks as soon as possible.
So when did they ask for the tents?
I just came to my attention a couple of days ago. I don't know. It may have been going on before then.
But you would know. So you're saying that they asked for tents for the homeless.
You would think I would know.
Right.
There are a lot of.
That's a big federal government, Frank.
There are a lot of moving parts, Chris.
Yeah.
And a lot of meetings to go to. So it's just a matter of staying on top of that. I'll see if I can get you some information on that.
So I wonder if that is part of the holdup. And are these is this the best that FEMA can do for the homeless, or is there any opportunity to retrofit a building for a backup hospital for the homeless, or is that all contingent on what the local government asks you guys for?
It's contingent on what the local government requests.
Okay, so for the most part they've asked for PPEs, test kits, and you said a little bit of tents. Anything else they've asked for?
Well, there's the alternate care facilities, which came through the surgeon cell, and that's something that was a much larger project and was scaled back once we had a new trajectory.
Okay.
The testing kits that are coming are being pushed out by Homeland Security, by Health and Human Services, and that would supplement anything that the government has requested directly from its sources. So it's keeping track of all of those and making sure that their burn rate, the quantity ordered, keeps up with the burn rate. So if they order 1,000, then they're going to go through 500 a day. We had better be one or two steps ahead of them to make sure that they have supplies that won't slow them down.
So how many of the test kits is FEMA providing through HHS to GovCom?
Well, through HHS, those are being pushed out through Health and Human Services every 2 weeks. So we're pushing out a prescribed number every 2 weeks.
What's that number?
That's called a push.
Mm-hmm.
We're thinking about 1,200.
So for a total of 4,200 a month, right?
Every 2 weeks. So more like 2,400.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right. Sorry, I'm not that great in math. So 2,400 a month. And has this already started, or it's starting?
It's already started, and we're expecting an order yesterday. So we're just trying to track that and make sure that it's arrived, accounted for, and then passed along. And as I said, this is in addition to what the surgeon cell and the Guam Department of Public Health and Social Services is ordering on their own.
Mm-hmm. How long have we been providing these 2,400 test kits? FEMA.
Oh, I would say that it started. Well, this could well be the second installation, or even the third installation.
For Guam or just?
No, this would be for Guam.
Okay.
Now, I would have to check the numbers for you, but I know that we've middle of last week we got word that this would be a standard cyclical push.
What kind are they? Like, what are they compatible with? Which machines here on Guam?
They would be for the AVI 7500.
Okay. And that's the one that we've had since the...
Right.
That's the one that you've had.
Right. Oh, wow.
So are you saying that we've received more than 2,400 test kits, or?
Right.
I wouldn't go that far. I would go back and find out exactly when the push started. And as I said, push, and then we're going to talk about what actually arrives in our hands and what we see on the horizon is coming. I'm only going to give you the numbers of what we actually have in hand and have handed off to the government.
Do you have that breakdown that we can take a look at that shows what you guys have pushed out and handed over to the government of Guam to date?
Yep.
Okay, that would be great.
And Frank, it kind of seems like at the beginning of this, working on that old trajectory that we were going to do all these things, retrofitting hospitals. There was a talk about a medical barge. But from what you're saying, it now seems like in aligning ourselves with the new trajectory, the much more conservative one, I mean, when compared to the last one, that we're kind of like scaling back on the preparations for what was supposed to be a mass casualty event.
Well, you make decisions based on information that you have. And if the information is old, whenever you make that decision, it's current, and you go with that. In some instances, you come across new information before decisions are made, and you say, okay, what is the impact of this? In the case of the alternate care facilities, we were, almost ready to go with a direction, had new information, and said, well, geez, if we go with that, now what we're doing is we're wasting taxpayer money because you would be holding these alternate care facilities at great expense for a period of months given the new trajectory. So you've got to be flexible and adjust to the situation, and that's kind of where we're at now with the ACF.
So those are basically on hold, the alternate care facility?
They're not on hold. They're just looking at other locations that are more appropriate for the size.
Right.
Now,
so
that doesn't mean that the facilities that have been looked at before couldn't be reactivated. If this thing did in fact mushroom, you would have already done all the research on the previous structure.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, in a lot of capacity.
So I know that you'd said that the University of Guam Fieldhouse was being looked at for an arena style setting. Is that no longer accurate?
We did have a look at that, and if it were needed, it would probably be a viable alternative.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, the trajectory shows that there will be no shortage of beds, even out until November.
Mm-hmm. The fall. But so the equipment, the field medical station, right? FMS equipment.
We'll hold those.
Okay. They're like in a storage facility, and there's two.
There's two.
Okay, and that's
There's
50
two in
beds
hand that we can look at.
Okay.
Put our hands on.
Right. So, anything else that you guys, any other asks from the government?
And you're going to be around for a while, right, Frank? The governor's extended this emergency 30 days, and then she also said that she anticipates extending it several months more.
Well, we brought in, since we talked last, I think we brought in 4 additional people. 2 more people have landed on island last week, and these are planners and a senior official that would oversee the coordination between the unified group. And so we've got probably 10 of us now dedicated to this response.
Wow. And again, was there anything else that the government is asking for?
Right now, what I'm aware of is the testing kits and the tents.
Okay.
Let's see.
Did we ever
I'll
get
provide you a list of everything.
Okay. We got the PPEs that they had requested?
We have shipped boxes upon boxes, and that doesn't mean anything to you until I get you the numbers, but there is a very large supply of gowns, gloves, face shields that have been delivered to the government or to the either the Surgeon Cell or the Department of Public Health, as well as and this is in addition to the stockpile that we've got. So as they need it, we will give it to them.
When you say stockpile, does that mean like what you here on Guam stockpile that
they're
FEMA has?
They're on Guam.
I see. Okay.
So everything that I say that we have is core product that we have almost immediate access to.
When were the PPEs and the face shields and all of that delivered to Gov Guam? Is that like a recent deliverance, or they've had it for a while?
They received those goods. I think 2 Sundays ago we got the first shipment that was dedicated to Gov Guam. That came in on a pallet on a B-17 freighter up at Anderson. 4 or 5 days later, another shipment came in on a commercial flight, and since then we've received an additional load of PPE that did include 24 ventilators, as well as the gowns, the masks, the gloves, everything else.
All right.
Is there anything else due that's on its way that has been asked by the?
Oh, probably. And like I say, there's 2 positions. One is a push from the SNS, which is the Strategic National Stockpile. That one's pretty much all done. So what we're receiving now is what Gov Guam is requesting from us, and they will either request that through us, or sometimes they will go and be free to order from wherever they want.
Okay.
Okay, Frank.
From wherever they want. Okay.
No.
Yes.
I guess we're going to try and touch in with you weekly to get like a status report, but I know that we had asked for some info, and are you going to be getting that to us in the next day or so?
I will get that from our logistics folks.
Okay.
So what we have in stock and what we have handed over.
All right.
Okay.
And very good.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Frank.
Thank you.
Wash your hands.
I shall.
Okay.
And to you.
There you
All
go. FEMA Frank Mansell. Guam's favorite, the KUM News Takeover. Let's keep it on the phones. I wanted to bring Mayor Rudy Matanani of Jigo on the line to talk about. Good morning, Mayor.